They searched for months with nothing but hope until a dropped gun and a badge pointed right back to someone sworn to protect. Let me tell you something, when the protector becomes the suspect, the whole community feels that sting. 16-year-old Susanna Morales lived with her mother in Norcross, Georgia. She was the baby of the family, a bright soul who loved music, makeup, and hanging out with her friends. On the night of July 26, 2022, she told her mom she was heading to a friend's house. It was a normal summer night. She walked a short route she knew well, less than half a mile back home. Her family expected her home by 10. Instead, her Life 360 app showed something that made no sense. First, the dot marked her on the street near her house. Then it reversed direction and started moving at 40 miles an hour. Susanna didn't drive, and no one was supposed to pick her up. Minutes later, the app sent a crash alert and went silent. Her phone died and was never recovered. Girl, make it make sense. Family and neighbors searched that night, calling her name in the dark. No answer. Police joined in and set up a tip line. A single camera captured her calmly walking along Singleton Road, alone and unharmed. That was the last confirmed sighting. After that, nothing. No car to trace, no stranger on camera, just a teenager who seemed to vanish in thin air. Weeks turned into months. Detectives chased hundreds of tips, sightings in Detroit, Nashville, Gatlinburg, across Georgia. Every report gave the family a little hope, and every one turned out empty. They even ran undercover operations, used drones and thermal imaging to search the woods. Still nothing. Moving on, the case grew colder by the day. 6 months later, on February 6, 2023, a man off-roading near Drowning Creek Road made a grim discovery. Human remains, skeletal and scattered, no clothing in sight. DNA confirmed what everyone feared. It was Susanna. With no flesh or clothing left, the medical examiner couldn't find a clear cause of death. But the location, a hidden stretch of woods near a busy highway, screamed foul play. Whoever left her there wanted her gone fast. While searching the area, officers found something that changed everything. A Glock 19 pistol lying on the ground about 100 feet from the remains. Not hidden, just dropped. That gun had been reported stolen the very night Susanna disappeared. Detectives traced it back to its registered owner, 22-year-old Miles Bryant, a police officer in nearby Doraville. And guess where he lived? The Sterling Glen Apartments, the same complex Susanna had walked to before she vanished. Bryant worked as a courtesy officer, patrolling the property in exchange for reduced rent. When investigators asked about the case, he claimed he barely knew anything. But the gun was his, and soon phone records placed his device near the woods where Susanna's body was found on the night she went missing. Detectives brought Bryant in for what they called a routine interview. He said he was driving around after arguing with his girlfriend, couldn't remember details, and tossed out vague stories about gang activity and strangers. But his answers kept changing, and the investigators noticed. Then they hit him with the news. We did find your gun, actually. Bryant tried to stay calm, but the link between his weapon, his phone, and the body site was impossible to ignore. The protector was now the suspect, and the walls were closing in. Detectives played it cool during the interview, letting Bryant talk himself in circles. He claimed he was just driving around after a fight with his girlfriend, that he went everywhere and nowhere, that he barely knew anything about the missing girl. But investigators already had his phone records. Those records showed his city-issued work phone pinging off towers near Highway 316, the exact area where Susanna's body was found. And those pings came in during the early morning hours right after she disappeared. When pressed about that location, Bryant acted surprised. He denied ever going into those woods. He denied dropping the gun. He denied knowing Susanna at all. Detectives asked if he ever blacked out when angry. He said no, not really. They asked if he killed her. He said no. They asked if he dumped her body. He said, I didn't dump her body there. But hey, every denial only tightened the rope. As they dug deeper, a disturbing pattern surfaced. Investigators learned Bryant had a history of breaking into homes and stealing women's underwear. He had been showing up uninvited at apartments, even caught on video trying to break into a young woman's home while wearing his National Guard uniform. So girl, make it make sense. police officer with a badge and a gun sneaking around like that? Detectives charge Bryant with concealing the death of another and filing a false report about his so-called stolen gun. He was arrested and held without bond. But prosecutors weren't done. They built their case piece by piece, adding charges of kidnapping, malice murder, felony murder, and attempted rape, all without a single eyewitness to the crime. The trial began on June 5, 2024, almost 2 years after Susanna vanished. Prosecutors told the jury that Miles Bryant used his badge and his position to lure or take Susanna, kill her, and dump her body. They brought in phone records, the gun, and a mountain of circumstantial evidence to show he was the only person who could have done it. The defense tried to flip the script. They pointed out that there was no DNA linking Bryant to Susanna, no clear cause of death, and no proof of how she died. They even tried to paint Susanna as a troubled teen who might have run away or overdosed, but the jury wasn't buying it. They heard from Susanna's family, who spoke through tears about the endless nights of searching and hoping. They listened to detectives explain how every single lead pointed back to Bryant. After just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury came back with their decision.
Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, found the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 3, kidnapping. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 4, criminal attempt to commit rape. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Count 5, false report of a crime. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Mr. Bryant, on count 1, malice murder, I sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. Count 2 and count 3, I believe, vacate as operation of law. Count 5, I sentence you to 12 months, which is the maximum I can, consecutive to your life without the possibility of parole. Thank you. You may go with the deputies.
Miles Bryant, a man sworn to protect, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Susanna's family finally got justice, but their fight isn't over. They have filed a lawsuit against the Sterling Glen Apartments, arguing the complex should never have hired Bryant as a courtesy officer, given his past behavior. They believe that if someone had done a deeper check, Susanna might still be alive today. Let me tell you something. This case is a painful reminder that a badge doesn't guarantee safety. Trust, but verify. And always watch who's watching you. News of Miles Bryant's conviction spread quickly through Norcross and across Georgia. People were shaken. A man who wore a badge, who neighbors waved to and trusted, turned out to be the very threat everyone fears. Parents held their kids a little tighter. Young women double-checked their ride shares and their tracking apps. The idea that someone sworn to protect could instead prey on the vulnerable left the whole community questioning who they could really trust. Susanna's mother spoke about the endless nights she spent waiting for a knock on the door, hoping for her daughter to come home. Her sister shared how she searched every day, refusing to give up until answers came. Their pain became a rallying cry for other families of missing kids. Community members organized vigils, raised money for search efforts, and pushed for stronger screening of apartment security hires. People demanded that property managers dig deeper before letting someone wear a uniform and carry a weapon around their homes. Even with a guilty verdict, the legal fight continues. The Morales family's lawsuit against Sterling Glen Apartments argues that management ignored red flags about Bryant's past behavior. They say that proper vetting could have prevented Susanna's death. The case has drawn attention from tenants' rights groups and lawmakers, with calls for stricter hiring laws and mandatory background checks for courtesy officers. Susanna's life was full of music, laughter, and love. Friends remember her singing in the house, practicing her ukulele, and sharing makeup tips. She should have had the chance to grow up, to chase dreams, to make mistakes and learn from them. Instead, her story is a warning about the cracks in systems meant to keep people safe. Let me tell you something, safety starts with accountability. A uniform doesn't make someone good. A title doesn't make someone trustworthy. Susanna Morales deserved better, and it's on all of us to make sure another family never has to live this nightmare again. That's the story of Susanna Morales and the case that exposed the danger hiding behind a badge.